Hi class, welcome back to our new lesson. Today's lesson, we are going to take a look at this dialogue. Let's read this short dialogue between Andy and Mark. While we read, I want you to focus on the verbs in blue. These words are important. And answer this question. What do the verbs in blue have in common? Please pause the video and read the dialogue, and then we'll go back to the answer together. I believe you paused the video and try to find the answer by yourself. The answer is yes, they are all described as state, not an action. These verbs are called stative verbs. The verbs all describe states and they are called stative verbs. They show feelings like the word, let me show you, like, love, prefer. They show senses like smells, looks, opinions or thought like think, agree, imagine. Possession like has, costs or needs like costs, want. We use them all the time in real life, but guess what? We usually don't use them in the continuous form. So instead of saying I'm loving the beach, we say I love the beach. And today we are going to focus on this grammatical structure or grammatical point, the stative verbs. Why do we need to learn about stative verbs? First is that you can use correct verb tenses. Stative verbs are generally not used in continuous or progressive tenses. For example, you cannot say you cannot say I'm knowing the answer. You must say I know the answer. The second point is that it improves your fluency. Knowing when to use stative versus action verbs make your speech and writing more natural. And the last one is you will have better comprehension. In reading or listening, recognizing stative verbs help you understand the meaning of sentences more accurately. Okay, class, let's begin by understanding what stative verbs are. These are verbs we use to describe a state, not an action, and most of them are not used in continuous form. Now let's look at the blue box. We are going to classify stative verbs into 4 categories. Actually, some books or some schools might have different kind of categorization for stative verbs. Some might say there are 5 or 6 categories, but let's say we focus on 4 categories first. The first one is verbs of thinking and perception. These describes what happened in your mind. I'll give you some time. Let's take a look on the list above and try to find verbs that belong to this category. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, let's take a look at these verbs in this category. The first one is believe. We have forget, imagine, seem, think, and understand. These verbs don't describe something you do with your body. They describe ideas or thoughts. That's why they are stative. Let's move to the second category, verbs of emotions and feelings. These express how we feel inside. our likes, dislikes, and emotions. Look at the yellow bar and find words that describe emotions. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, let's take a look at the answer. We have the word agree, hate, like, love, and prefer. You don't do love or hate like an action. You feel them. That's why they are also stative verbs. This time, we look at verbs that show what we have or are. These verbs describe possession or state of being. Can you help me choose 4 from the list? Now, let's take a look at the answer. We have the word belong, contain, possess, and want. These words don't describe an action you perform. They tell us what you own or hold. Then we come to our last category. Let's talk about the 5 senses. These stative verbs describe how things seem, feel, smell, sound, or taste. You already know the answer because there are only 5 words left. Let's see, the first one is feel, hear, look, smell, and taste. These are often confusing because some can also be action verbs and stative verbs depend on the context. For example, the soup smells good. This one is a stative verb. Also, we can use smell as an action verb, like the dog is smelling the flower. See the difference? Let's see the difference between stative verbs and action verbs in detail. Again, stative verbs describe a state or condition, something that doesn't change quickly. For example, emotions, thoughts, sense, or possessions. But for action verbs or dynamic verbs, describe something you do, a physical activity, movement, or short-term action. Let's look at how they work. Some verbs can actually be both stative and action verbs. It depends on the meaning. Take the word have. In this sentence, do you have a car? Have means possess. That's a stative verb. But in they're having a party. Having is part of an action, like doing an activity. It's an action verb here. So even the same verb can change depending on the meaning. Here's another example with the verb be. You are my best friend. This is a fact. It doesn't change. That's a stative used of be. But she's being silly. This is something happening right now. Just temporarily. That's an action used. So remember, sometimes even stative verbs can be used as action verbs when the meaning is different. Now let's take a look at the senses. Smell, taste, feel, look. These verbs can also be stative or action. For example, your soup tastes good. We are describing its quality, the quality of the soup. It is stative. But if I say he is tasting the soup, he's doing the action of tasting. This is an action verb. Same goes for this flower smells nice, or she's smelling the flower. The first one is stative verb. The second one is action verb. Let's look at C. I see what you mean. What do you see? This means understanding or use your eyes. It is stative verbs. But if I say I'm seeing my dentist this afternoon, now it means meeting. This is a scheduled action. It is an action verb. Same word, different meaning. Hear. I don't hear well. This is your ability to pick up sound. It's a stative. But if I say the judge is hearing the evidence, it means this is a formal process, something happening actively. It is an action verb. Last one, weight. This melon weighs 2 kilograms. We are describing a quality. It is stative. But if I say he is weighing the melon, this is an action he's doing with his hand. It's an action verb. So the same word can also be stative or active, like I said, depending on its use in context. So what did we learn? We learned that stative verbs describe emotions, thoughts, states, and things that don't really change fast. Action verbs describe things we do, like activities, movements, or things that can change quickly. And also, some verbs like have, be, see, smell can be both depending on their meaning. Next, let's practice together with some exercise. Alright, class, let's put our knowledge of stative and action verbs into practice. We are going to complete these sentences using either the simple form or the continuous form of the verbs in the box. You can see the verbs in the box on page 7. We have 5 words: see, smell, taste, think, and weigh. Let's start with number 1. This cheese smells terrible, but it tastes delicious. Here, smells and tastes, they are stative verbs. They describe qualities, not actions, so we use the simple present. For number 2, James the soup now, just to check if it needs more salt. James is tasting the soup now. This is an action. He is doing it right now. So we are using present continuous is tasting. Number 3. I can't talk to you right now. The doctor. I'm in the consultation room. You don't usually see the doctor this way. It's a temporary appointment, not your vision. So I'm seeing the doctor is used as an action verb here. It's just my opinion, but I this holiday package is too expensive. Oops. Think. Think is used here for an opinion, so it stays simple present. We say I think, not I'm thinking. Number 5, if you look very closely, you can just see the tower in the distance. This is literal vision, so we use the simple form see. The grocer is weighing my vegetables now, and then I'll be ready to pay and leave. This is a physical action in progress, so it's an action verb in present continuous. Is weighing. Number 7, they are thinking of going on a cruise, but they haven't made a decision about it yet. This time, thinking means planning, something temporary and ongoing, so we use the continuous form of the verb are thinking. And the last one, number 8, my suitcase weighs over 20 kilos. I might have to pay an excess luggage charge. This is a state or a fact, not an action, so we use simple form weighs. Remember, the difference between stative and action verbs is about meaning. Stative equals thoughts, emotions, possession, sense, usually simple tense. Actions equals activities, temporary processes, usually continuous tense. And yes, some verbs can be both depending on the context. Okay, here we go, class. This is the last exercise for today's session. Let's practice using stative and action verbs correctly by checking for errors in these sentences. Some of these verbs can't be used in continuous forms and so we are fixing them together. Now let's start with number 1. Samantha isn't at home right now. She sees the doctor. This sentence sounds wrong. Why? Because sees here usually means visual perception. But here, in this sentence, it means meeting the doctor, which is a temporary situation. If we want to correct this sentence, we need to say she is seeing the doctor. We use the continuous form because it's an action happening now. Number 2, Brian is having a lot of free time these days, so he's studying French. The verb have here means possession, not doing an activity, so it shouldn't be in the continuous form. If we want to correct it, we should say Brian has a lot of free time these days. We use simple present with stative verb like have for possession. Number 3, the jeweler is weighing the bracelet now and then he can give you a price. This sentence is already correct. Weighing is a physical action right here happening now, so the present continuous is okay. Number 4. I am preferring holidays at the beach, but I am having great fun in the city this time. The word I'm preferring is wrong. It's incorrect. If we want to correct it, we should say I prefer holidays at the beach instead. Number 5. Hurry up. I see the train on the platform. The engines are starting. This one is about using your eyes, literal vision. So see is a stative verb here. And the sentence is already correct. And the last one. As my mother ages, she is forgetting more and more. Forget is typically a stative verb. Even if it happens over time, we still use simple present for facts or states. So the correct version of this sentence is she forgets more and more. To wrap things up, remember stative verbs describe a state like have, see, prefer, forget. Action verbs describe something you are doing. And if a verb describes a temporary action, we can often use the continuous form. Even with some stative verbs. But be careful, not all stative verbs work in ing form. Excuse me. Let's do some more example together next time.